Welcome to the Steve Barkley Ponders Out Loud podcast. As instructional coaches and school leaders, you have a challenge to guide continuous teacher growth that promotes student success. This podcast looks to support you with strategies from our experienced guests and insights that I've gathered across many years. I'm thrilled you're here. Thanks for listening. Start the year with reflections on your mission and vision. What actions are required? The start of a new year is a great time to guide your school team in a reflection around the school's and the district's mission and vision statements. This is especially true for new staff joining your team. Too often, these statements are viewed as a distant outcome rather than a focus on actions we need to take now. When the vision is seen as a result rather than just an opportunity, it shapes our need for actions. Reflection on your mission and vision can create a shared purpose and enthusiasm. It can create a focus on continuous improvement. It can create a way to prioritize your efforts. And it can create a culture that supports students' well-being and growth. Important outcomes to be focused on. Listen in to the following comments from Dr. Jason Andrews, the superintendent of Windsor Central School District in New York State. He describes both commitment and actions driven by mission and vision. Dr. Andrews was the New York State Superintendent of the Year in 2019. And he has served East Windsor Central for the past 18 years. What would you point out as some of the key progress that the district has made in the more recent years?
Yeah, sure. So, we when we look at kind of the journey that the district has been on now for some time. And I started working here as a high school social studies teacher and coach in 1997, and really what we were known for in those early days was boys athletics, and it was a very strong athletic programs, kind of for the boys' premier sports, but that's really what we were known for. Not a lot of focus on academics, and really since when I started in January of 2006. We've really tried to transform kind of the educational opportunities for kids. So some of the progress that we've made has been around some of those really measurable areas. We went from a 78% graduation rate in the early 2000s and 2005 to 95% graduation rate, 4-year graduation rate. We tend to rank at or near the top in our region on state assessments, and we used to be 13th out of the 15 in our region. But what we've really focused a lot on beyond kind of the, we say that's kind of the proof of concept is those objective measures. But when we look at a lot of the things, what we've really tried to do is focus on lots of opportunities for kids, and in particular, we have 8 pathways that we work toward with students from engineering and computer science and trades, agriculture, education, business, healthcare, etc. That it's really aligned pre-K through 12 to get kids lots of different exposure, different about 58% of our kids live in poverty. So the idea of getting kids on college campuses as early as second grade, to get them out and visiting businesses, so that they start to really have this idea of there being a lot of different opportunities. So we start computer science in kindergarten. We start engineering in kindergarten. We start agriculture in kindergarten. We really try to get kids exposed to lots of things, and then provide them with the support so that they can have what we call a future ready plan. And so our high school, pretty small high school, just over 500 students in our high school. We have 37 college credit bearing courses for them within a variety of those pathways. So lots of great things. We've done a lot of progress of late, really, on our facilities. We've done now since 2006 about $100 million in upgrades to our facilities, really aligned to those pathways and the opportunities. So a whole lot of work going on. We've done a tremendous focus. We have a terrific team focused on mental health initiatives and what we're doing with social emotional learning and making sure just that this is a safe learning environment for all students, and building systems where there are daily check-ins with kids, but also kind of building those bigger supports. So, for example, we now have outside providers. We have mental health clinics in each of our 5 schools, and so a lot of kind of across the gamut of things that we've been working on for some time.
I'm hearing painting a picture of a possible future and then providing as many supports as you possibly can for kids to be able to build towards that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that, we are, and actually this sort of goes back to my school board piece. So it took me a very long time. I had been involved in the creation of our mission statement when I was on the school board. And it was one of the single worst experiences of my life. It was this 18 months of wordsmithing. And so I really said, never again are we going to be working on mission. But what we've really done is tried to create this very mission-driven organization. And we have I think a real clarity of that shared mission. And our mission statement, reflective of that shared mission here, is to ensure that each learner is future ready. And so that future ready can take a lot of different forms. We have many students that go on to very competitive 4-year universities. We have many students that go directly to the workforce, and in either case, they need to be ready. And that needs to be their plan. We're not going to decide what that destiny is for them. And what we really, when we look at, we focus a lot here on culture, and looking at the idea of a culture of success. In a culture of success, you have high expectations, and we have high expectations. We have high expectations for our staff. I'll tell you, the board has very high expectations for me, and we hold people accountable for that. But if you're going to have a culture of success, then you have to have high levels of support too. So for staff, for students, for families, it's high expectations and high levels of support. So, you can't simply, say, well, we've exposed kids to these things, and now it's really up to them. Well, it is up to them, but they're still kids. We're gonna help them along and ensure their success.
I frequently struggle when I'm working with folks on mission and vision statements, and they use the phrase of providing the opportunity.
Yeah.
And that just comes up too short in my mind.
It's critical. It's, that to me, then we get out of our core purpose. The core purpose isn't to give the opportunity. Look, I have the opportunity to work out every morning. I have access to a gym. That doesn't mean I'm doing it. And I think that's, that idea of, and we phrase it in exactly the way you said. The other way that we phrase it is, in our district, is learning optional or required?
Gotcha.
And so what we've really worked hard to do is create a system where learning is required.
Yep.
like to toss this question out to you. If I had the opportunity to spend some time observing you in your leadership role, what do you think I'd likely identify as the approaches that you have to working with your district staff?
Great question. I guess I'd ask them. They'd say what a pain in the neck I am. Now, I think what you would see is some of that high expectations, high levels of support. But I also, I've always been a big believer in if you want to control something, then do it. If someone is empowered to do their job. So if I wanted to still be the middle school principal, then I'd still be the middle school principal. Yep. If not, then I need to empower them to make decisions and make mistakes, and that I should be there to support and to be a thought partner. And if there's something that they need a decision or a directive, fine. But I think what you would see is, and we actually just had a leadership team meeting yesterday, and we were having this conversation about effective communication and really effective listening, and the distinction between hearing what someone says and truly listening to them, and listening to understand instead of listening to reply. And we discussed this idea of what I think you'd see. And sometimes this was part of the discussion. Sometimes I think there can be a sense of frustration. What I often do is ask them questions. And in fact, I have a little reminder by my phone that says questions, not answers. Because, we have a really incredible team. We've had some more recent transition. So I've got some newer leaders that don't have the same type of experiences that others, but really, I try to empower them to run their department or run their building, and I'm there to support them and to push them, but largely to get out of the way.
I really appreciated Dr. Andrews' description of high expectations driven by a vision of the desired future, an outcome, not just an opportunity. His leadership focuses on questions rather than answers. And that's really a key, whether you're coaching individuals, educators, teams, as well as the whole staff. Coaching their actions to move closer to that desired future picture. What questions will you be using early in the year to build reflection that drives action? Here are some I'm thinking of. Looking back, where have you seen our decisions and our practices most closely aligned with our desired future? What actions do we have that seem to not be aligned? What actions might be missing? You might use this question coaching an individual teacher. What do you want to accomplish with your students this year that you've not previously been able to reach or make a reality? And lastly, what elements in our mission and vision statement are strong motivators for the passion in your work? I hope this year gets off to a great start with actions that are driving you closer and closer to that future outcome that you desire for the students that you serve. Best wishes. Thanks for listening. Thanks for listening, folks. I'd love to hear what you're pondering. You can find me on Twitter or LinkedIn at Steve Barkley, or send me your questions and find my videos and blogs at barkleypd.com.